Imagine a world where a single 3-minute melody could make you a millionaire on Monday and a trivia question by Friday. In the 1970s, the airwaves weren't just a place for rock gods and disco queens. They were a wild, unregulated frontier where a song about a murderous barmaid or a stuttering power pop anthem could hijack the global consciousness overnight. While the legends of the era built monuments, these 10 artists captured lightning in a bottle, touched the top of the charts, and then, just as quickly, vanished into the static of history. From the grit of psych soul to the shimmering dawn of new wave, these are the stories behind the songs you still know by heart, performed by the artists the world completely forgot. So, let's have a look at the 10 one-hit wonders that defined a decade.
He was on his way home from
1. In the Summertime, Mungo, 1970.
Have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can feel it in the sea. We're always happy, but we do as we please. When the weather's fine, we go fishing.
While Ray Dorset and his band Mungo were massive in the UK, they are often reduced to this singular foot-stomping juggernaut in the broader global consciousness. In the Summertime is the ultimate seasonal anthem. It isn't just a song, it's a sensory experience of 1970, a mix of skiffle, blues, and a jug band aesthetic that felt grounded and earthy amidst the burgeoning prog rock movement. The track's success was fueled by its simplicity, a chugging rhythm, the sound of a glass bottle being blown into, and Dorset's signature mutton chops. It sold over 30 million copies, yet the band never replicated that specific alchemy again. For many, Mungo remains frozen in that eternal, sun-drenched afternoon of 1970.
You can make it good and live by. Summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up, living here, that's our philosophy.
2. Smiling Faces Sometimes, The Undisputed Truth, 1971.
smiling faces tell lies. Smiling faces of the evil that lurks within.
The early 70s were defined by a shift towards psych soul, and few tracks captured the era's growing cynicism better than Smiling Faces Sometimes. Originally intended for the Temptations, producer Norman Whitfield gave the track to The Undisputed Truth. With its sinister, wah-wah guitar lines and haunting vocal harmonies, the song warned of backstabbers and
They don't tell the truth. Smile.
the lies they tell. It hit number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, providing a gritty, urban contrast to the era's flower power leftovers. Despite their immense talent and association with Motown, the group became a casualty of the very industry skepticism they sang about, never seeing the top 40 again.
And I got proof. Oh Lord, yeah. Sometimes pretend to smiling faces.
3. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, Looking Glass, 1972.
100 ships a day, know the sailors, town that she works. Day and whiskey and wine. The sailors say Brandy.
Brandy is perhaps the most cinematic one-hit wonder of the decade. It tells a story of a lonely barmaid in a harbor town, pining for a sailor whose life, his lover, and his lady is the sea. It's a masterclass in songwriting, featuring a horn section that feels like a warm breeze, and a vocal performance by Elliot Lurie that strikes the perfect balance between blue-eyed soul and folk rock. The song is so evocative that it has enjoyed several resurgences in modern cinema. Yet, Looking Glass disbanded shortly after their follow-up singles failed to chart. They left behind a perfect 3-minute novella that defined the yacht rock precursor sound.
I pass the time away. Talk about that fine girl. What a good wife you would be. There's a girl in this.
4. The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, Vicki Lawrence, 1973.
Been 2 weeks gone and you thought you'd stop, but that's right. But your young bride ain't home tonight. Well, he got mad and his son red, and he got to say,
In an era dominated by singer-songwriters, Vicki Lawrence, primarily known as a comedic force on The Carol Burnett Show, delivered one of the most chilling Southern Gothic narratives in music history. Written by her then-husband, Bobby Russell, the song is a tale of infidelity, murder, and a corrupt justice system. Lawrence's vocal is surprisingly haunting, eschewing
Andy was saying hello, and he said,
theatricality for a steady storytelling tone. It reached number 1, but Lawrence, her primary career in television, meant her musical endeavors remained a side project. The song stands as a rare example of a TV star crossing over into a legitimate, genre-defining hit that still sends shivers down listeners' spines.
some have him a drink before he went home to her. The launch has been seen that Amy's voice said, "Push your head, 'cause to tell you the truth, I've been with her."
5. Rock On, David Essex, 1970.
Blue suede shoes, hey DJ, hey shout.
Rock On is an anomaly. It is a sparse, avant-garde piece of pop that shouldn't have worked. Built on a double-tracked bass line, heavy reverb, and a minimalist drum beat, the song feels more like a fever dream than a radio hit. Essex's vocal is a breathy, detached tribute to the early days of rock and roll and James Dean. The track reached number
Which is a way that's clear, still
5 in the US, but Essex, a massive star in his native England, struggled to translate that success into a sustained American career. Rock On remains a quintessential piece of glitter rock that feels decades ahead of its time in its production value. The Hustle by Van McCoy, 1975. As the mid-70s approached, the disco revolution began to brew. Van McCoy, an accomplished songwriter and producer, accidentally created the definitive anthem for the movement. The Hustle is almost entirely instrumental, save for the iconic command to do the hustle, and a soaring flute melody. It topped the charts and became a cultural phenomenon, spawning dance crazes across the globe. However, the song's massive success arguably pigeonholed McCoy. He was a sophisticated musician who found himself tied to a dance fad. While the song is a time capsule of 1975, McCoy's broader contributions to soul and R&B are often overlooked in the shadow of this disco giant. 7. Magic by Pilot, 1974-1975.
Oh, it's magic, you know. Leaning on my pillow in the morning, you know.
Ho ho ho, it's magic! If you lived through the mid-70s, that chorus was inescapable. Pilot, a Scottish group consisting of former members of the Bay City Rollers, delivered a slice of power pop perfection. The song is buoyed by hand claps, a fuzzy guitar solo, and an irrepressible optimism.
Music playing in the morning.
Despite its infectious nature, Pilot was often dismissed as teeny bopper music. They never found another hook quite as sticky as Magic, and the band members eventually transitioned into high-level session work, notably contributing to the Alan Parsons Project. 8.
Never believe it's not so. Never believe
Black Betty by Ram Jam, 1977.
Whoa, Black Betty, bam lamb. Whoa, Black Betty, bam lamb. And the damn thing gone blind. Bam lamb. I said, oh, Black Betty, bam lamb. You know that's no lie. Bam lamb, she's so rock steady.
Black Betty is a fascinating case of 1970s cultural appropriation and rock transformation. Originally an African-American work song attributed to Lead Belly, Ram Jam turned it into a hard rock guitar shredding monster. The song is relentless, driven by a pulsating rhythm and an edit that feels like it's barely holding the track together.
Whoa, Black Betty, bam lamb. Whoa, Black Betty, bam lamb. She really gets me.
The song was controversial upon release, with some groups calling for a boycott due to its origins, while others simply couldn't get enough of the riff. Ram Jam was essentially a studio creation centered around guitarist Bill Bartlett, and when the dust settled, they couldn't recreate the raw energy of Black Betty.
Bam lamb, the damn thing gone wild. Bam lamb, she said we're not Black Betty. Bam lamb, whoa, Black Betty. Bam lamb, she's from Birmingham and she's always ready. Bam lamb, whoa, Black Betty. Bam lamb, whoa.
9. Pop Music by M, 1979.
Forget about the rat race. Let's do the milkshake. Pop music. Pop music. Movie with a suitcase. Don't live in the
As the decade drew to a close, the sound of the 80s began to bleed through the speakers. Pop Music by M, the moniker of Robin Scott, was a new wave manifesto. With its synthesizers, dry vocals, and shooby-dooby-doo hooks, it was a meta-commentary on the nature of pop music itself. It hit number 1 in the U.S. in late 1979, serving as the perfect bridge between the disco era and the synth-pop explosion. Scott continued to record, but pop music was such a singular, era-defining statement that anything following it felt like an echo.
Try some, buy some, beat by four. Talk about. I got invaded. Infiltrated. New York, London, Paris, Munich. Everybody talk about pop music.
10. My Sharona by the Knack, 1979.
Will you make my motor run? My motor run. Gun it coming off of the little closer, huh? Or will you, huh? Close enough to look in my eyes, Sharona. Never gonna stop. Give it up. Such a dirty mind out.
While some argue the Knack had other minor hits, they are the ultimate one-hit wonder in terms of cultural impact versus longevity. My Sharona was the fastest-selling debut single since the Beatles' I Want to Hold Your Hand. Its stuttering My Sharona vocal and driving drum beat were the sound of the summer of '79. The band was marketed as the New Beatles, a heavy crown that eventually led to a backlash.
But the younger kind, whoa!
They were too pop for the punks and too aggressive for the disco crowd. By 1980, the fever had broken, leaving My Sharona as the final loud exclamation point at the end of the 1970s. The 1970s were the last decade before the MTV era solidified the visual image of the pop star. In the 70s, the song was the star. A catchy riff or a strange lyrical concept could travel via AM radio to every corner of the country without the artist needing a brand. This led to a democratic but brutal chart system. If a song resonated, whether it was a novelty track about a shark or a soulful ballad about a sailor, it rose. But without the infrastructure of modern celebrity, these artists often found that their second act couldn't compete with the sheer novelty of their first. These 10 tracks represent more than just forgotten music. They are the DNA of a decade that was unafraid to be weird, sentimental, and loud. They remind us that sometimes all you need is one perfect song to live forever.
Never gonna stop.